Hello, everybody. Very good morning. Welcome to our fourth virtual workshop. All right. Hi, Harry. Hi, Wesley. Oh, I'm pumped up as well. Very good morning. Glad to meet you all once again after a week's break. Hope you all been keeping safe. Hello, Brand. Very good morning. If you can hear me, see me, and my slide deck that's being shared with you, please acknowledge to the chat window. Me and Anjana are the evangelists and with Zoho. And we'll also double as your host today. For those of you who've been attending our previous session, you would pretty much know us. And we've got Vivek and John, our product experts, who with their fast fingers will be working behind the screen, providing answers to your questions during the session. And Srihari will be today's showstopper as he's going to take you through the hands on training. And before we jump into the session, I'd like to give you a few quick pointers. So, if you wish to shadow or train us actions, make sure that you have signed into your Zoho One account. If you're a Zoho One user, make sure that you have added Zoho CRM to your Zoho One account. And if you're a shared user, you may need to have admin privileges to access certain features. And if you have any questions during the session, post them through the option on the left that is marked questions. If you face issues with audio or video during the session, let us know in the chat box. So it's questions in the questions tab and issues in the chat box. And please do participate in the polls that we'll be rolling out soon to keep the workshop engaged and lit. Today's session is going to be focused more into the training and list talking. Since most of our attendees were in our previous workshops and majority of you are familiar with Zoho CRM, I'll give you a quick introduction to Zoho One, followed by a bird's eye view at today's hands-on training. Those of you who are new, do not worry, the recording of our previous webinar is available and we will share it with you. Following me, it will be Hari, who will give you an elaborate hands-on training on Zoho CRM's customization and automation features. Finally, Anjana will give you a quick recap before closing the session. As you know, Zoho One is a suite of 40 plus applications that can help almost every department in a business, starting with the pre engineered sales CRM all the way to build your own Zoho Creator. Zoho One is the operating system for business. Its integrations and flexible customization makes it user friendly than any of its like in the market. Today, let us see how sales CRM from Zoho can bend and stretch to suit the individual requirement of every business. And as you know, the topic for today is automate sales and customize Zoho CRM for your business. Today's session on Zoho CRM will be divided into two parts: customization and automation. Under customization, you will learn to work with layouts and layout rules. When you're a business that need to manage different types of customers in a single CRM, you must know how layouts and layouts rule work. Once that's done, you'll be taken through a journey of customizing modules. Since Zoho CRM is generic, customizing the modules to suit your requirements will definitely come in handy. Srihari will also help you with best practices in creating and using lookup fields. And under automation, we have decided to provide you training on two features: a broader view into creating workflows that help automate operations, and to set up a strict set of business processes using blueprints. For today's instance, let's consider an education consultancy that need to customize its CRM to accommodate different types of students, automate sales process, and set approvals for visa processing. So without further ado, let me welcome Srihari, a product expert who will take you through the hands-on training session. If you have any questions, Vivek and John are ready to answer. The session is being recorded and we will share the recording with you. Srihari, the virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, John, and good morning, everybody. So as we click on the setup icon on the top right corner, underneath customization, you see this option called modules and fields, wherein you would see the list of modules in Zoho CRM, which includes the standard fields, the standard modules, and also the custom modules that you can create. you might feel that there are certain names of the modules that might not be relevant for your business requirement. Don't worry, we do have options to rename these modules in Zoho CRM. So all you need to do is to hover your mouse on the more option against the module and click on rename to rename the specific module. For instance, by default, we have a module called leads that is renamed as consultee. So I'm quickly moving into my module wherein I'd be able to see multiple layouts that I've created. The first question that might pop up your mind is as to why you should use layout. Let me take my own business case. Uh, there are students who are looking for undergraduation opportunities in Australia and also post-graduation opportunity in Australia. So the information that I would get from an undergraduate student would not be as same as the information that I would get from a postgraduate student. So the information would differ based on the nature of service that my customer is looking from me. So this is where the role of the layout rule comes into picture. So in order to create a layout rule, all you need to do is to click on the new layout button on the top right corner. And if you already have multiple layouts created on your system, you can choose to clone a new layout from any of the existing layouts. So I choose to clone a layout from the standard layout, uh, and I click next. It will navigate me or take me to the builder wherein I can build my own new custom layout. And wherein you can start giving a name for your layout. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you'd be able to see a bunch of fields ranging from single line field to the lookup field and file upload field that can be simply dragged and dropped into your builder to meet your requirements. And if you're looking to rename these fields, all you need to do is to come here and give a name. And for your information, I have added few custom fields into this layout. If you could see that to distinguish between the standard layouts and the custom layouts in Zoho CRM, we would be able to distinguish based on its color. So the fields that are once colored in black are the standard layouts, and the fields that are colored in brown are the custom layouts that I have dragged and dropped into the layout. So if you could see, I have added few layouts like course interested in, the branch of engineering, which is a pick list field, the branch of science, the branch of arts, the TOEFL certificate, the IELTS certificates. These are the other check boxes that I've added into the system. So not just that, when there is a large amount of information on your layout, sometimes people working on a specific customer might get confused as to what exact information that they would need for profiling purposes. This is where adding new sections comes into the rescue, wherein you'd be able to add a new section like I did. So you'd be able to see the new section option on the left-hand side of the screen. All you need to do is to simply drag and drop this into your section, into your layout, and give a name and start adding fields into the section. So if you could see here, by default, we would have sections called the consultee information, which is the lead information, and also the address information of the consultee. Additionally, I have added two new custom sections, namely the score for engineering application and the score for science application, so that I can segregate these informations within my layout. And not just that, there are some instances wherein I need to collect the same data multiple times from my customer. For instance, I would need the previous TOEFL score of my students who are looking for educational opportunities in Australia. So I would need the score for the past 3 years. So what I can do is that it is not necessary that I need to add six different fields to get the score and the year that they appeared for the exam. Instead, what I can do is to simply drag and drop the subform into the layout, and I could add two fields into it, and I can start gathering the same information by adding the rows multiple times. I'll show you how exactly this subform is going to work. So for now, this is all about adding custom fields, adding new sections, and adding new subforms into your layout. So let me show you another layout that I've already built in my system. So as I go back, I have created a layout called undergraduation for Australian country, and I have a bunch of custom fields added into it. And now when I go back to my original module, uh, you will see how this actually looks. So let me go back to my modules and look for the consultee module where I've added this field and customized my layout. So I'm going back and I'm looking for the consultee module. For your information, I have renamed the leads module as consultee. So I'm going into the consultee module, and as I click on this plus icon, I would be able to see the information that I've added. And so this is all about the layouts in Zoho CRM. The next thing that I would like to discuss with you are the layout rules. So okay, so let me quickly come back to my one of the records in CRM and let you know as to why the layout tool is so necessary for your business. So I'm going back to the consulting module. Okay. So as I start creating a record, I have a pick list field called course interested in. And I have multiple options like engineering, mathematics, science, and so on. Assuming that one of my consultee chooses, or if he or she is interested in a science course, the field that appears right beneath it, named branch of engineering, has no relevance to this form. Because my consultee is actually interested on a science course, then of course the branch of engineering field becomes so irrelevant for the course that my consultee has selected. This is where the layout rule comes into your rescue, wherein based on the field values selected on a field, we would be able to either show certain fields or sections or even subforms or even make certain fields mandatory. So if you could see the layout now, I'm able to see a bunch of all custom information I've added, like the score of engineering application, the score of science application, the TOEFL scores, and IELTS score. So let me first show you how I've created the layout tool and just replicate the same on how it works on my environment. So let me come back here. As you know, in order to create a layout tool, all you need to do is to click on the setup icon in the top right corner, click on the customization, modules and fields, and choose a specific module where this layout tool has to be implemented. And you'll have to click on this new layout tool option on the right hand side of the screen. And you can give a name for it. And you can choose the layout on which this has to be implemented. So I can choose a primary field that would control this entire rule. Say, for instance, I can have that chosen as course interested. Since I've already chosen it, I will have to go for a different field. Maybe, yeah. So the branch of arts is already chosen. So let me choose another field named branch of science. Okay, so since I've chosen the primary field as branch of science, if the branch of science is physics and I click next, wherein I can start building a rule. So only if branch of science is physics, I would be able to show certain fields, show certain sections, set certain fields as mandatory, and also show certain subforms. If if you happen to choose the branch of science as zoology, then you can choose to display a different set of fields, sections, and subforms to your people who are working on your CRM. So if I could go to a layout tool that I've already configured. So if you could see this layout tool that I've already configured, when the course interested is chosen as engineering, then I would be showing these two fields, namely TOEFL certificate and branch of engineering, and a section called score of engineering. And I would also make this branch of engineering a mandatory. And also I would show this subform called TOEFL score. Okay, so for now I have deactivated this rule. Let me go into Zoho CRM and show you how the system looks without this layout rule. And also I will show you how the system will look with the layout rule. So I've come here, so I'm able to see all bunch of fields wherein certain sections are going to be irrelevant for what I'm going to do right now. So let me come here and choose to activate this rule. This rule called course interested in, and I go back to my Zoho CRM module and I click on refresh. And if you could see the screen, I have this chosen as, one moment. Okay. So the course interested in is engineering. As I click on engineering, you'd be able to see the branch of engineering section populated here. And not just that, you'd also be able to see the score for engineering section that I've added. And also the TOEFL scores appear based on the layout tool I've configured. Let me show you the layout tool that I've done. So which is supposed to show two fields, namely TOEFL certificate and branch of engineering, which is again shown here, the branch of engineering and TOEFL certificate. And also it is supposed to show a specific section, namely score of engineering application, and that is shown. And also a specific subform called previous TOEFL score is now displayed here. So if I happen to choose a different value other than engineering here, you wouldn't see this information called TOEFL source, TOEFL scores and a score for engineering application. So let me choose to have this set to science, and you would notice that you're seeing a new section, namely score for science application and the previous IELTS score. So this is all about the layout rules. So, and also to give you more light on in what ways you can exactly use these subforms, as I told you earlier, I need to collect the history of the IELTS or TOEFL scores that my students have scored. So instead of adding 6 different fields for the year and the percentage, all I can do is to enclose this subform and start giving the year they appeared for the exam and the score and the percent they scored. So I can click on add rows and I can keep adding multiple information. So this is all about the subforms. So I believe now you were able to understand about the layout rules in your Zoho CRM and in what ways it could mean a lot for you in your business, especially when you have a lot of fields configured on your layouts. In every business, there would be a need of adding a custom rule to manage various customer activities and customer operation. This is where the feature of creating a new custom module comes to your rescue. So again, underneath customization modules and fields, you'd have a bunch of modules that were the standard modules and the custom modules in the system. And if your intention is to create a new module, you can click on this new module option and you can start creating, you can give a name for this module, and you can start creating a new module. And specifically for this specific my nature of business, I've created a custom module. And not just that, I'm looking to establish a custom relationship between the custom module that I created and the consultee module in my system. So let's see how I've done that. So let me look for the custom module that I've created. And if a module happens to be a custom module, you'd be able to see this star icon, which defines that this module is a custom module. So I have a custom module named visa process. So as I open that, I have a few custom fields added into this custom module called visa process, like visa status, TOEFL score, and other information. Of course, this visa status is a pick list field, and I'll tell you about this visa status in some time from now. And with respect to establishing a custom relationship between a module in your Zoho CRM to another module, you can make use of this lookup field. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you would see this option called lookup. So all you need to do is to simply drag and drop the field into your module. So let's remember that this is a custom module, and I'm trying to establish a custom relationship with this custom module to the consultee module that I already have in the system. So I've added this lookup field, and the next step that I will have to do is to give a name for it. So I'm naming it as consultee. And then the next option that you would see here is the deciding factor of the field. You are defining here as to which module does this record has to look up to. That is, which module does this visa process has to look up to. So I come here and I would have a bunch of modules, which includes the standard module and also the other custom modules that you have created. You can choose to establish a relationship anyway. So I choose to establish a relationship between the consultee module and this custom module called visa process that I've created. So as I click on consultee, this module, this field would look up to the consultee record in the consultee module, and also in the related list of the consultee module, I would be able to see this visa process, and I can start creating a visa process for a consultee right away within the consultee information. So I can name it as, you can give a name that should appear on the related list. So as you click on done, this field is now saved. Let me show you a lookup field that I've already saved. So as I come here, I click on edit permission. I've named the field as consultee, and this is looking up to the consultee module. And in the related list of the consultee module, I'd be able to see this visa process module in the name of visa process. So let me just show you how this is going to actually look. So let me switch back to a record in my Zoho CRM. So I'm opening a record in consultee module, and I'm opening a specific consultee. And if you could see the related list of this specific consulting module, I would be able to see this module called a visa process. So as I click on that, it would take me to that specific section within the consulting module, and I would be able to either create a new visa process for this consultee right away in this module, or else I can choose to navigate to that specific module. And if you could remember, this is the module where we have added a field called consultee. And if you could see here, the consultee field is here, and it looks up to the consultee record. So as I click here, it would navigate me to the actual consultee record. So this way, I'm establishing a custom relationship between a custom module and the consultee module in my system. So we discussed about the various processes that you can do using the customization in your Zoho CRM. The next thing that I would like to discuss with you is all about automation. If you're a beginner to Zoho CRM, it is always advisable to first have the customization perspective of your CRM addressed, and then move on to the automation. So first, I would like to discuss about the workflow rules, and then I'd speak on the blueprints, which is one of the most interesting features in Zoho CRM. So coming to the workflow rules, if you click on the setup icon on the top right corner, underneath automation, the first option that you would see are the workflow rules. So anybody who's using CRM for long would know what this workflow rule actually does. Primarily, the workflow rules can send out an automated email notification, and also it can automatically create tasks, and also it can automatically update fields based on certain conditions and actions. Uh, all these three different primary actions are more discussed topic. Today, I chose to speak on a less discussed topic on how you'd be able to automatically even create fields, create records, create new records in the other modules in Zoho CRM using the workflow rules. So if you click here on the create rule option, it would take you to this page wherein you will have to choose a module for which this workflow has to be associated to, and then you can give a name for it, and you can choose, as you will have these different sections in your workflows. The first section would be as to when you're looking to execute this rule. Okay, and you would have multiple options underneath it. Either you can choose to execute this workflow or trigger this workflow on a specific record action, and that specific record action includes creation of a record on in this specific module. So if you could see, have chosen the consultee module, wherein this workflow will be executed whenever a new record is created in the consultee module. And also you can choose to execute this workflow on edit. That is if a specific record is edited, you can have this workflow triggered. And also if you want to trigger it on a specific field update, you can have this workflow triggered as well. Not just that, if you choose to execute this workflow on a specific date and time, you shall also have that done. Say for instance, if you're looking to trigger this workflow maybe a day after the created time, not just the created time, say let's assume that you have added multiple date and time fields into your layouts. So if you're looking to trigger a workflow based on a specific date and time, either a few days before or few days after a specific date and time, you can have this workflow triggered. So for now, I choose to trigger a workflow whenever a record is created. And also the next part comes the condition. Either I can choose to execute this workflow for all the consultee records on the consultee module, or also I can choose to execute this workflow for the records satisfying certain conditions. So if I click on consultee matching certain condition, I can choose to set the condition. So based on the condition that I've set here, only if the created records happen to satisfy this condition, then this workflow will be triggered. So if you could see here, I chose to send out an automated email notification the moment a record is created. And not just that, I choose to automatically create a task for the consultants in my added in my Zoho CRM to reach out to the consultee. So there's, if you could see the due date here, they are supposed to reach out to this consultee within a day. So the process is this: the moment a record is created, automatically an automatic email notification would be sent to them. And not just that, an automatic task would be created for the consultant in Zoho CRM in order to reach out to the consultee within a day. So you can automate this. So let me click on save. And as I told you earlier, I'm going to throw more light on a less discussed topic, right? So in spite of having this sending out automatic email notifications and task, we do have options to automatically create records in any of the other modules in Zoho CRM as well. So if you could click on the action, you would have this option called create record. So as I click on this, if I choose this, I would be able to create a new record whenever this workflow is triggered. So as I click on new record, I can choose the module in which this record has to be created. For example, I'm choosing a module called students. So the moment this workflow is executed, a new record would be created in this module called students. And also, if I'm looking to simply copy the name from the existing module, that is the consultee module, to the student module, all I need to do is to make use of the merge field. So I can press on hash, and if I'm looking to populate the name of this consultee, the last name of the consultee as the last name of student as well, all I need to do is to click on this hash and choose a specific field from here, and I can have it mapped. And not just that, I can also choose to assign a owner for this record. So if I could see here, I can choose to have this assigned to any of the other users in my Zoho CRM system. If not, I can make the owner of the student record to be the same as the owner of the consultee record. So if you could see here, if I could press on this, it would automatically make the owner of the student record as the consultee record owner. So let me show you a workflow that I've already created. So this workflow called enable visa process, wherein this workflow is supposed to automatically create a new record in the custom module called visa process that I created few minutes earlier. So whenever this field called visa process is enabled in the consultee module, that is, if the visa process is selected, this would automatically create a new record in the custom module called visa process. So let's see how this is going to actually work. So let me go into the consultee module, and let me initially first create a new record. So Sam John, and I'm choosing the course this person is interested in, the branch of it, and I'm having this record created. So the moment this record is created, you'd be able to notice this, that automatically task is created for the owner of the record. If you could see that this person is the owner of the record, automatically a task is created for him in order to reach out to the specific consultee within a day. And this is done through the workflow. And also you can see this, if you are looking to see if a workflow is triggered for a specific record, all you need to do is to click on the timeline of the record, and you would be able to see them here under the history, wherein this workflow was triggered and a task was automatically created. So the next part that I would like to discuss is this workflow automatically creating a new record in the visa process. If you could remember the workflow that I've created, I've set it in such a way that if this specific field called visa process is enabled, then this workflow is supposed to automatically create a new record in this module called visa process. And remember, we have already established a custom relationship between the consultee module and the visa process. So now you're able to see the visa process without any records. So now let me have this enabled, and let me refresh this record so that I'd be able to see how this workflow has triggered and how it has automatically created a new record in the visa process. Here we go. If you could see the related list, a new record was automatically created, and in the related list of the record. So as I click on it, I would be able to navigate to that record right away from here. And also I'd be able to see as to which consultee does this visa process is looking up to. So even from the consultee record, I'd be able to see the visa process, and also I'd be able to navigate to the visa process right away from here. So this record was automatically created to the workflow that I created right now. If you could see the timeline, so this record was created via this workflow rule called enable visa process. So this is all about the workflows that we have in Zoho CRM. And additionally, you can also create custom function and webhooks in order to do some custom activities and advanced automations within Zoho CRM. And the next thing that I would like to discuss about is the most interesting features of Zoho CRM, the blueprints. So every organization follows a business process. So every customer and every business can go through multiple stages in your business environment. And as your customers or as your business goes through multiple stage, there is a need for updating certain mandatory information before making a transition of a record from one stage to another. This is where the concept of blueprints comes into the picture. You'd be able to create your entire business process for a specific module, and you can make sure that every record in your system follows the same defined rule, and all certain necessary information are given by the people who are working on the system before moving the record from one stage to another. So as you click on the setup icon in the top right corner, underneath process management, you would have this feature called blueprints. So you can choose to click on create blueprint option on the right hand side, and you can choose to give a name for this blueprint. And the next option that you would see here is the module. So you can choose as to for which module you're looking to apply this blueprint. So this would again display all the standard modules and also the custom modules in the system. Now I'm trying to define a visa process using this blueprint. So I choose to use the custom module called visa process that I created. And also, would there be multiple layouts in a module? You can choose as to on which module this blueprint has to be applied to. So you can choose a field which is going to be the primary deciding factor for this blueprint. And you all might be curious to know as to why it is only displaying the visa status. See, any field of a pick list data type would appear here underneath the choose field section. So the reason as to why it is displaying only the pick list data type, the fields of pick list data type is this. As I told you, you're going to define the transition between different stages. So obviously a pick list field will have multiple values. So the different values on a specific pick list field is taken as a different stages of a record. So here I choose to use this field called visa status. And also if I'm looking to have any criteria enforced here, I can have it enforced so that only the records in the visas process module satisfying the criteria would enter the blueprint. So as I click on next, it will take me to the blueprint builder. So let me show you a blueprint that I've already created. So this is a blueprint that I've already created. So all I need to do is that I would have multiple fields, states on the left-hand side of on the right-hand side of my screen. All I need to do is to drag and drop them. Let me show that to you. I do not have any fields here. I'm sorry about that. So I'm naming it as visa and I'm choosing the visa status and clicking on next. As you could see the screen right now, I'm able to see the different states on the right-hand side of the screen. Before building a blueprint, we need to understand the anatomy of blueprint or the skeleton of blueprint. A blueprint primarily consists of two different features, which includes the states or the different stages of a specific record or the values in a pick list field. So whatever you see here on the right-hand side of the different values in a pick list field, which are the states, and also a transition that connects these multiple stages. So all you need to do is to simply drag and drop these different states into your module builder, and you can start connecting the different stages and start defining your transition. So let me show you a blueprint where I've already defined the transition. So this is a blueprint that I've already defined, wherein I've added all the necessary fields, and I've also connected the different states in my blueprint using the transition. So these two states are connected with this transition called screening, wherein every transition will have three different sections, namely before, during, and after. So let me let you know in detail what does these three different sections refer to. The before section defines as to who is supposed to do the specific transition. So is it the record owner? By default, it is set to the record owner. If you choose that a different person should be responsible to have this transition done, you can also have a different user in your organization to perform this transition. And the next part would be the during, wherein you can define the certain set of mandatory actions that my consultants are supposed to do before moving a record from one stage to another. So if we could remember, I have used this specific field called visa status. That is, without performing these transition, the consultants in my system would not be even be able to edit this specific visa status field without following the process that I have defined here. So if they are looking to change the status of the field, the only option they would have is to go through this blueprint to change the status of the field from one to another. So I come here again to the screening, wherein underneath the during section, I can define the mandatory action that my consultants are supposed to do. So it ranges from mandating my consultants to making an attachment, and also mandating them to make notes as mandatory, and also to extend this, I can also click on this add option. And if there are certain fields that has to be definitely mandated before moving a record from one stage to another, I can simply have all those fields chosen here, so that for a record to move from one stage to another, they will have to do all these actions mentioned under the during section. Only then a transition can happen. So I can also choose to display a message like I displayed here. If you could see here, I've given a message to my consultants stating that they will have to gather the TOEFL and the junior college score of the consultee. And not just that, underneath after section, like the workflow side, be able to send out an automated email notification, automatically create tasks, and automatically update fields, and also I can do some custom actions. So moment a record moves from one stage to another, or the moment this transition is complete, these automated email notifications would flow, or this automatic tasks would be created. So let me quickly walk you through every transition and the settings that I've made. So the first transition that you see here is I've named them as screening, and the record owner would be the owner of this transition. And underneath, during I've sent out a message to my consultants stating that they need to get the TOEFL and junior college score. I've mandated to add these two fields, namely TOEFL score and the junior college score. And during the next transition, namely documents collected, during this transition, I'm giving out a message to my consultants asking them to attach the TOEFL certificates of the consultee. And also, I have enabled this checkbox, make attachment as mandatory, which means that they will have to attach the certificates of a specific consultee before going to the next stage. And I have another transition named examination done, wherein I have given underneath the during section to add the notes after an examination of the document was done. If you could see here, I have made the notes as mandatory. And the next part would be arranging an interview with the concerned department, wherein I have set this interview date to be the mandatory field. And not just that, when an interview date is set, I can also choose to send out an automatic interview confirmation to the specific consultee, asking them to be present on the venue for the visa interview process. And once I get a result for the interview for the visa process, there can be either two of these. Either two of the things can happen. Either the visa may get approved or the visa may get rejected. So on a visa being approved, I choose to send out an automated email notification stating the visa is approved. And if the visa is rejected, I'm mandating my consultants to add the reason as notes as to why the visa was rejected. So I have defined my entire visa process right from screening of the consultee till the end of the visa process in a single blueprint, wherein my entire process will be followed without any deviation. And as an administrator, I can be very sure that every record in my system follows the same process in a streamlined way without any sort of deviation. So let's just see how this blueprint is going to actually work. So let me go into this module called visa process. So we have created a record right now in this module called visa process. So yeah, so as I told you earlier, if you could see this primary field called visa status, it is completely locked. That is, my consultants will not uh, be able to change the status of this visa field without undergoing all these defined transitions. So the first transition that I've mentioned there is a screening. So as I click on screening, it would pop up a screen wherein the message that I've given for my consultants to get the TOEFL score and the junior college score. So I'm entering the scores of the specific consultee for the visa process, and I click on save. If you could notice the screen, this specific field called visa status is now changed to screening as I've done the screening process. And the next transition that I'm supposed to enforce is about collecting certain documents. So as I click on documents collected, I would get this option called attach TOEFL certificates. So all I need to do is to attach the TOEFL certificate of the specific consultee. So I click on file upload and I choose to upload a file. And assuming that this is my TOEFL certificate, so I have attached the TOEFL certificate of the consultee here. It's loading and I click on attach. So as I save, you'd be able to see the changes in the transition. Now the next transition is examination done. And even if you could see here, the visa status is now document collected. And in the related list of the record, you can see the necessary documents that I've collected. So the next part would be the examination done, wherein as a consultant, I would have to examine all the attached documents. So I come back here, I examine all the documents, and I add notes stating that examining done, and I click on save. So the notes is also added to the related list of the record. So after going through all the necessary documents submitted, all I need to do is to arrange an interview. So I'm arranging an interview for this consultee, wherein I click on interview arranged, I choose a specific date for the interview, and I click on save. So as I click that, an automated email should have been sent to the consultee stating that an interview was arranged for him or her. So upon the result of the visa process, there can be two options. I mean, either of this thing could happen. Either the visa can get approved or the visa can get rejected. Assuming that the visa was rejected for the specific student, I get information from the department that the visa was rejected. So I come here, click on the visa rejected transition, add the notes, I enter the reason as to why the visa was rejected. If you could remember, these are all the different messages I have added on my blueprint. So even on an educational perspective, when you're hiring new salespeople into your organization, they need not feel lost in an ocean like Zoho CRM. So the next course of action that they are supposed to do is readily available on the screen. It is not necessary that they should always have a person guiding them throughout your business process. They can simply take dictations from the system and they can do their work. So I'm adding the reason as to why the visa was rejected. Um, Documents improper, and I'm clicking on save. So if you could see now, I have completed the entire process of visa processing for a specific consultee, right from the start to end, without any deviation. So this is all about the blueprints in Zoho CRM. I believe the topics that we discussed today were helpful. And if you have any questions with regards to any of the discussed topic, please do write an email to support@zoho1.com. We shall have your questions addressed. Over to you, Ms. Anjana.
Thank you, Srihari. Thank you very much for giving us a very good insights on Zoho CRM and customization and automation. Quickly, giving a recap of today's session is just so we basically started with creating layouts, layout rules. We spoke about custom module and lookup. Then under the automation, we did workflows and blueprints. If you have any queries, our experts are going to stay here for another few minutes. Please pop in your questions right now and they will be answering. And if you have any feedback, please email it to us and please fill in the survey form, which we'll be sharing it to you under the chat box. And any question and answers, as I said, if not, you're not able to, if your questions are not been popping right now, you can also send us an email to support@zoho1.com. We will be happy to answer you. We have our 24/7 support system who will be answering all your inquiries. Well, excitingly, we have many more workshops coming around. Like we are going to work on more on projects, finance, more of people management, and we also are going to have a general Zoho One topics as well. This is going to go on till the 16th of July. Please make sure you register them by today so that you can, the seats are actually filling up quite pretty faster. And just a quick thing I would want to mention here that you can meet our e-commerce experts and get a hands-on training on how to build your own e-commerce stores. In this workshop, every participant will receive a starter kit with a sample product images like banners and contents, which will help you to build your store during this workshop. So this is going to be on the 2nd of July from 11 to 12 p.m. Australian time. And this is for 1 hour. Yes, and it's very exciting as well. And I just want to give you a quick heads up on this Zoho's COVID relief free license program, which we've been offering for ASAP. And we also have the Zoho Creator, which is a low-code application development platform. This is also free, using it. And we have the Zoho remotely, which is free till the September 1st, 2020. Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for your time. It's really nice to see you, and I hope I see you the next week as well. Make sure you stay safe, stay healthy. Take care.